Well, before I talk about the Ouija board, which I have a lot of experience with, I would like to say that under no circumstances do I recommend that anyone even remotely experiments with the Ouija board. And the reason for this is because it is, for me, the most easiest gateway to the spirit world. And the Ouija board has been outlawed, quite rightly so, in many countries around the world. But it has a fascinating history, and we can't really make a film about the spirit world without actually talking about the Ouija board. In the 1700s, French travellers in North Africa, in Morocco, in a town called Oujda, saw fakirs. These are street performers, they're psychics, they're fortune tellers, they're soothsayers, using an alphabet scratched out in the ground and using entranced snakes, cobras. And what would happen is that the fakir, the word fake, by the way, comes from the word fakir. The fakir would produce a kind of trance-like state in the snake. He would ask questions, and the snake would sort of nod its head at various letters scratched on the ground. The French travellers brought back this idea that you could get spirit messages just by pointing at different letters and numbers. They brought it back to Europe. It then made its way over to America, and believe it or not, Ouija boards were marketed as a novelty by various games manufacturers in America, and they corrupted the name of the town in Morocco, which was originally Oujda, which is on the northern coast of Morocco. It became known as Ouija, and eventually then it became known as the talking board. There have been a lot of bad cases of people receiving really messages from bad spirits via the Ouija board. Now, the interesting thing is you don't even need a Ouija board to use the same system. You can go out and buy a box of Scrabble, and you can lay out an alphabet and the numbers from 0, 1, 2, 3 up to 9, hello, goodbye, and you can just ask, is there a spirit in this house? Now, a spirit usually does come through, and if you're using an upturned glass, which is the most common way of getting the message from the spirit to spell out words, the force and the speed and the preciseness of the movements of that glass can be really quite astounding. I've seen the top layer of varnish removed in less than an hour from a wooden table by the force of the spirits moving that glass. Now, you know, this is very, very dangerous, because the Ouija board is totally unlike ceremonial magic. In a magical ritual, you would entice, invoke a particular spirit. With Ouija, you just ask, is there a spirit in the house? And bang, usually the glass starts moving straight away. Now, here's a message for everyone who is involved in the so-called New Age. Just because you have a discarnate spirit speaking to you through the Ouija board, that does not automatically imply that that spirit has good intentions. In actual fact, spirits lie and cheat and are mischievous exactly the same as people are. A typical example is where a spirit of a famous bad person, the favourite would be, say for example, Hitler, or a mass murderer like Stalin, and that would come through, spell its name out and start giving you information. Of course, a chill goes round the room. You know, spirits lie, people lie. Spirits are, you know, really basically a continuation of the personality of the person. Therefore, I would say never ever use this system. There are colleges where you can go to learn to be a medium, and I would never ever dabble in any communication with the spirit world unless you have been properly trained.
Na nebu, tako i na zemlji, kruh naš svagdanji daj nam danas i otpusti nama duge naše, kako i mi otpuštamo dužnicima našim, ne uvedi nas u napast, nego izbavi nas od zla. Amen. Slava Otcu i Sinu i Duhu Svetom, kako bijaše na početku, tako i sada i vata vijeke vjekova. Amen.
In 1981, at Medjugorje in Bosnia, a ghostly apparition appeared to a group of 6 peasant children. The children would pray in a trance-like state and stare upwards, and the apparition would give them telepathic messages. Some of the children believed they were in the presence of the spirit of Mary, the fabled mother of Jesus. During the 1980s, news of this persistent apparition soon spread, and literally millions of people began to visit Medjugorje in Bosnia. The huge crowds of pilgrims who gathered at Medjugorje, more than 30 million over a period of 3 years, were never shown on television. The mainstream media never fully reported the persistent apparition in Medjugorje. Soon after, the country of Bosnia, part of the former Yugoslavia, was bombed into oblivion by the US and British governments. The entire country was transformed into a war zone, and the telepathic communication between the children and spirit of the Virgin Mary was violently disrupted. At Fatima in Portugal, Lourdes in France, and at San Sebastián de Garambandal in Spain, millions of people regularly witness paranormal apparitions, but it is never reported on the mainstream media.